Owl. Have you heard of us before? Or have you? I'm not sure if you have.
I have not.
No, that's okay. So Neon Owl, we're an organization that really focuses on philanthropy as well as artist development.
Nice.
So it's an artist collective. So a lot of our audience is up and coming artists that help each other out. And I wanted to interview you because I think you've really been the epitome of helping out future artists. I've seen you build your own career. I mean, I've seen you since you lived here and you've moved to New York. I think this year, right?
I just moved in September last year.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
how has it been?
Good. Hard, but like now I'm really coming into my own, I think. It took a full year to like get my bearings and feel comfortable.
Okay.
And now that I am, it's great.
Yeah. And don't mind Polly D.
It's totally okay. It was crazy finishing my set with drum and bass and then Polly D after.
Yeah, I know.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
You threw in. We saw most of the set, and we threw in a lot of different genres. And
Speaking,
there's some Polly D playing Excision right now.
Who's this discussion about, Polly D or me?
Yeah, no, for real. Sorry, no, we're focused on you right now. You played a remix of Martin Garrix and Original Dawn.
Yes.
Whose remix is that? Did you make
The Original Dawn?
Yeah, or it was like you kind of mixed Tremor into Original Dawn.
Yeah, so the Original Dawn one, I think it was either Wink or Nico, and then Tremors is Wink. The first one is Nico, Nikko. I think.
Okay. If not, if we'll look it up later if you're not. But no, it was a great. I was sitting like, oh my
Thank
god,
you. I'm
that's
so
great.
glad you liked it.
It's just Original Dawn is like an older.
It's an OG.
Yeah, it's an OG, and it was just so cool to hear it at a festival. I don't think I've ever heard it at a festival.
I always try to pull like a lot of throwbacks in there.
Yeah.
It's like a little for the oldies like me, and a little for the young kids, right? So it's like a nice balance. But I want everyone to be able to sing the lyrics to whatever everyone's like feels included. So.
Yeah. I was going to say, you did say on the mic, but I also heard a couple interviews that you've talked about how, if I'm not mistaken, Goldrush was your first show that you ever played, or first festival you ever played?
You know, it's so funny. I have a second. I don't remember what the first one is because it was 9 years ago now, and I did a 15 minutes of fame. And I think it was for Goldrush, it was for a different festival that they had at the same time.
Okay.
But it was around now, 9 years ago.
That's awesome. Because you said you haven't played here since, right? At this festival?
Well, since 2018.
Okay. So that wasn't your first time. Okay.
So I played 2018. I'm like, what is that?
It's okay.
I played 2018, and that was the last time I played this festival, yeah.
Yeah, how has it been? I know you'll probably get a lot of questions about this being your homecoming, but how has it been playing, main stage on a nighttime set versus probably when you first played?
Yeah, you know what? It was amazing because I haven't played a festival here in like a long time. I think the last festival I played in Arizona, God, it's really hard to say. Maybe like a Crush or something like that, like years ago.
Yeah, Crush.
So it's been a really long time since I played.
It's really cool to see you back here. I think. When's the last show you played here?
The last show I played here was a whole year ago.
Wow.
In October of last year, I did a headline show at Sunbar. So it's been a minute.
Okay, I was going to say, I feel like I remember you headlining a show either at Sunbar or, I don't know, Dark Star is a new venue. I don't know if you've seen it or played there. That's like kind of the new venue here.
I have been to Dark Star.
Yeah.
I have been to Dark Star. Before I moved, I went to Dark Star.
Yeah, and well, to switch back to where you're at now, you're living in New York, you said, for about a year. I've heard also in some previous interviews, and I'm sure a lot of artists, when they live here, sometimes want to make the move to California. And so what made you, I don't know if you even remember talking about that, but what made you decide New York instead of California to move to?
I'm just not an LA girl. I mean, who knows down the line? But every time I visited there, I knew I was supposed to like it, right? Because all the music people are in LA, but I always didn't. And like, I just was like, well, if that's the only option, I guess maybe I'll go there. And then I went to New York in September 2022 for Electric Zoo. I played there. And I stayed with a friend. I know, the year before. The year before.
Okay,
yeah. No, that wasn't the one that told me to go. I went 2022, and I stayed with a friend, and I was like, oh my God, this place is amazing. Like, I had no idea that could be an option, and he had a whole music life there. And then one of my best friends is Night Punk, and he introduced me to a lot of his friends because he used to live there. And so then I was just like, this place kind of rocks. So then I made the move last year.
Awesome.
I just felt like it was right. And I visited maybe like 4 or 5 times in between September and actually like 5 times between September and then next September. And I lived there for like a month over the summer. And every time it just felt so right.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, sometimes you just have to do it.
Hey, no, I'm the same. I moved here from Colorado.
Okay,
It's the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know it's home when you're there.
Totally.
No, I'm really happy for you. Just seeing your career grow, it's just been so cool to
Thank
see.
you.
And I'm going to rewind it a little bit. And the reason that I really did want to talk to you is, and I think you've been just a great inspiration towards emerging artists. I think that, and because of all, I think you've been the best student of the game out of a lot of the artists that I've seen. Like, I've really seen you put in the work, and we've seen you put in the work.
Thank you.
And I've seen, you know, I think Sophie Tucker might be the only comparable artist that has utilized Twitch as much as you.
That's true.
How is, and we'll talk about your Twitch, but like, what is your current Twitch streaming? Do you still do it? Do you not? Have you taken a break? Like, where are you at with the Twitch streaming right now?
I thought I was gonna do a lot more of it when I moved, and I got everything set up in my studio. I got the wiring and everything. And now that I'm touring more, it just like, it became a logistics thing, right? Because it's like, okay, I'm gone Friday, Saturday, I come home Sunday, get my brain together. Monday, I do like a lot of errands, and then I go to the studio. By the time I'm all said and done, I got like 4 days to do stuff.
Definitely.
And then I work weekends.
Yeah.
So it's like, to do extra on top of it all, it's like, I just needed to focus on writing music. And sometimes you just have to sacrifice.
No, I think it's a good thing, because I feel like you utilize the vehicle of Twitch in order to, you know, get to where you're at. And like, I think what's the goal always, to tour like you are? What's the ultimate goal?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say like an ultimate goal, I guess. I think the key to my longevity is just being along for the ride. Like, I don't know, but I like it. I'm gonna keep going. You know, there's no like, I was just looking at the,
I don't know what was going on up there. That's okay.
it's convincing visuals. But yeah, I think the key to longevity is just being down for the ride.
I like that.
And like, you can have vague goals. My mom always says this. You can have like a general idea of where you want to go, but if you set a game plan, you're never gonna do it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And speaking of your mom, I think we saw her here watching you.
My parents are both here. They're so sweet. They love to support.
How are they supportive, and how have they helped your career, do you think?
Oh my God, they've been so supportive. I couldn't have done it without them. You know, it's like they believed in it from day one when I wanted to try out like a summer music program, and they were believers when I moved home for 3 years, and they were believers when I moved out the house finally. So, you know, they've been incredibly supportive.
I love that, and especially in the music industry, you know, there's definitely artists and people that don't have as much of that support.
Yeah, oh my God, I'm so lucky.
Yeah.
I mean, it took a little bit to like, I needed to show momentum, right? There's like a difference of like just, you know, blind support. and like I showed them I was putting in the work, and they could see the effort and the passion, and I think that's hard to deny, you know.
Yeah. See, I love that you said that, and I think the passion, the work, that's the first thing I said to you, is the work you've been putting in, and especially for aspiring artists out there. Like, it's not just saying you want to do it, but it's actually, I know in the past you streamed twice or 3 times a week.
Twice, well, twice, sometimes 3.
Yeah, for a couple years, right? It wasn't
I did for like a year and a half, I think.
Yeah, a year and a half, and on top of that, I also was reading about or listening about how you downloaded every song on your library, like, and I'm sure you put a lot of your own money into this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an investment of your time and money.
Totally.
Yeah.
But it's fun, like, totally, but you don't even question it when you're doing it, right? It just is like, yeah, I like that song, I'm gonna get it. It just like makes sense to do it if it's part of it.
Yeah, you're like, this is what I'm supposed to be
This is
doing.
what I'm doing, you know?
Yeah. How did you, because I'm sure you've talked about this before, what were you doing before music?
Like 9 years ago?
Yeah, like what was
I was still in school.
Okay, you started in school.
So yeah, I was studying, and then I did a bunch of odd jobs for like 5 years, and then I took on a graphic design, like a corporate graphic design job for 2 years, so that puts us at 7, and then the past 2 years
That's
no job.
Hey, no, it's a job, you know. I mean, and the graphic design, that's interesting too.
Yeah.
How has that played into your career now?
I do like most of my graphic design.
That's really, that's
It's
awesome.
very convenient to have the skills.
Yeah, it's
Although it's a little bit of a burden because I'm such a perfectionist, it takes so much time, and then I don't have any other eyes on it. So it's like an echo chamber of me giving feedback to me. Yeah, so it would be nice to have another pair of eyes, but it's hard because I can do it. So I have a hard time justifying.
like relinquishing the control
Yeah.
and like,
I'm a perfectionist. What can I say?
Definitely. I mean, and I've seen it show, not the perfectionist part, but like the seeing the effort show.
Yeah, you're crazy. We see.
No, we see all the work you do, but really, and I even noticed that like back in 2022 when you played Circuit Grounds. Yeah, at EDC. I just remember the Blossom, the Powerpuff Girl, just like raining down on the screen. And I mean, you didn't create that character, but I think just that sort of design was really awesome, and I still remember it to this day.
Well, I had a friend do the visual, the visual package. Yeah, that's a little outside of my depth. I can do like basic animation stuff, but not full visuals. That I leave to the pro.
That's where you draw the line.
That's where I draw the line.
Yeah, and I meant to ask this at the beginning, but I know with interviews, like usually we come in with a set of questions and you answer them, but I wanted to open the floor up to you and see if there's anything that you wanted to bring up or talk about that you don't really get the chance to that often.
That I don't get the chance to. God, it's a hard question because I do feel like I get asked very comprehensive questions.
It can be about anything, not just music. Like something you want to talk about more, you know.
Well, I love putting together outfits.
Oh my God, style.
Don't look at my credit card bill.
Your style is.
It's part of the show, right? It's like part of the budget.
Okay.
You know, getting everything picked out and having a whole vibe when I play. You know.
Definitely, and I mean, you've had pink hair, I think, longer than your music, right? And that's an investment too.
Well, 9 years. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Pretty much exact.
Yeah.
When I picked Blossom came after the pink hair, yes, but like 2 weeks.
They they coincided. Okay.
Very tight. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and I think, and that brings up a good point as far as investing into yourself,
right,
and creating your brand. And that's the other thing I've really noticed about you is that you've really set and created your brand sort of from the ground up. Really, I mean, not even sort of. You built it from the ground up, and I was doing an interview before where he was talking about juggling everything, and being an artist is not just making music anymore.
It's a lot of moving parts, right? I think being an up and coming artist is challenging because you do end up doing a lot of the roles, right? So I think it gets easier down the line when you can have a team to help with all the minute details. I was just saying today, like, I got my girlfriends doing, my guy friends and everyone doing my TMing for stuff, and I feel bad putting it on them. It's like very helpful, you know, but I think those things get easier when you're more successful. I do think it's just kind of par for course. This is what it is. As an up and coming artist, but it is a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and it's a lot of work of like, I can handle the graphic design stuff. It's just like, I feel like a lot of social media, it's like, unless you're like living, breathing all day watching social media marketing content,
Yeah.
it's like really challenging to figure out that marketplace. It's essential, but it takes up a lot of time, you know. But it is just part of the grind, right? It's like, that's just what you gotta do.
Yeah, and how do you think your content and brand has developed since you know, even the EDC 2022, or since like you even 9 years ago? Like, how do you think this in the last year has it grown versus like when you were streaming every week?
It's just different mediums. Like, I do a lot more club shows, like headline shows now, so I'm able to really interact with my fans and give them the full vision. And I think my sound is getting more refined. Social media-wise, obviously now I don't have the Twitch stuff to post, but I got plenty of other stuff to post. I'm trying to figure out some new pillars, so I'm working on it.
Hey, it's a lifelong journey.
Yeah,
it's an ever-changing form too.
Yeah.
Like it's on top of making content, it's the changing of content.
Between the top of this conversation and the end of this conversation, it'll be different. When I get off this, I'm gonna look on TikTok and it's like, I don't even know this place.
When did this become popular? Like over 30 minutes?
Overnight.
Yeah, it's awesome. And shifting gears a little bit here, and it does go along with your social media, but I think another thing you've done really well at is not pigeonholing yourself into a genre.
Yeah.
I mean, even tonight we heard drum and blossom, we've heard bass house, and I know you've worked with night bass.
Yeah.
UK bass is becoming way more popular in the US, which is I'm sure it's really hype for you. And,
That's great.
Yeah, I just wanted to hear sort of your thoughts on how the music scene is changing and how your style has been changing over time.
You know, I think the one thing that I've really held on to throughout the years is I think I've always been fairly multi-genre. I think now it's more profound because I am reaching all the way to drum and bass. I think that's something in the last 3 years or so. I think my sound is evolving, but I still always really just like a lot of different sounds. Like, I honestly feel, from my own personal opinion in my set, playing like 3 of the same genre in a row is like so boring for me. Like, oh, okay, another one. It's like so much more fun for me if I can just bounce around and just, you know.
Yeah, you never know, especially every time I've gone to a Blossom set, you never know what you're gonna get, and I love that about those sets.
Yeah, just something a little different, but I try to keep it high energy, and I try to keep it lots of songs you can sing along to. So those are my, like, the threads that I do in there. I want every song to have, like, at least a semi-recognizable vocal, or something people feel comfortable dancing to, you know.
Yeah, it's been amazing. Her sets are really fun.
Thanks.
Should go to them. But
Thanks.
really, I guess we'll wrap it up here with just you've done a lot of feedback for artists, and you've definitely offered a lot of yourself while you're still learning the industry yourself. At this point in time, what's some advice that you would give to up and coming artists that are still trying to find their sound and their voice?
God, my sound has developed so much over the years, and I think the best advice I can think of, it goes all the way back to when I began. I started when I was DJing and producing. I learned at the same time. I was kind of mixing my time between like night bass or very early night bass stuff, and like experimental trap and everything. And I just couldn't find my mojo when I was writing the experimental stuff. My brain just wasn't computing it, and I went with house because it felt more natural to me to produce. But then I still didn't really limit myself. Then after that, I found another thing and I tried that. And I think like now I'm doing drum and bass, and I'm really happy that I never like told myself I couldn't work on something because it wasn't aligned, right? It's just like, go for it. Maybe you find a genre that you like making even more, you know? I feel like when I started making drum and bass, like before I started, I thought, oh, this will just be my hobby to DJ it. And then when I made my first song, came out like no one's business. It was so fast. I'm like, I didn't even know I had that in me. And then it just like, it became the love of my life, right? So it's like, just don't limit yourself. Try it all and see what you feel most natural making.
I love that. It's try and fail, and if you fail, stand up again.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe it's not right for you.
Yeah.
But might as well try.
Yeah. I shouldn't say try and fail. Try, and then if you fail, stand up again.
Yeah,
you don't have to fail.
Try it and definitely fail. Although the failing makes you stronger, right?
Yeah, and that's totally. What am I saying here? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly.
It totally.
No notes. Exactly.
You, yes, I really appreciate it. And the last thing here really is just what's next for Drum and Blossom, for you.
Sure.
What's next?
Well, I dropped a song today, Breathe. It's with Echo.
You played it? Oh, so good.
I've got a lot of like trancier stuff coming. I've got a lot of I've got a lot of like donkier stuff, but then a lot of drum and bass as well. So more stuff with UKF, more stuff with Helix. That's the label I'm working with now for a lot of the trancier stuff. Yeah, I'm just trying a lot of new things. But fast, high energy, which is always my love. Yeah, it'll be amazing.
Yeah, we'll be there. We'll be there and watching you, and we appreciate you taking the time to talk with us. It's been amazing.
You've been since the beginning.
Yeah, of course. I had to be. I mean, you're repping a lot of my personality traits and just being a strong woman in the industry.
Yeah.
And it's been great to watch you grow, and I really appreciate everything you've done for music and for me.